Friendly greetings, this is Torley Linden, and this video tutorial will show you how to effectively respond to abuse in Second Life. Our governance team investigates and responds to abuse-related issues that occur in-world. The governance team reviews abuse reports submitted by residents. You will receive an auto-response notice that your report has been received. To file an abuse report, simply go to the Help menu and click on Report Abuse. You'll see the links right here to the Terms of Service and the Community Standards. An abuse issue in Second Life is defined by any behavior that violates the Second Life Terms of Service, or the TOS, or the Community Standards. It's best to become familiar with both of these pages so that you know when to file an abuse report and you don't do anything in Second Life that is inappropriate behavior. The Governance Team, also known as the GTeam, issues warnings, suspensions, or ultimately a ban to violators depending on 3 factors. Number 1 is the severity of the abuse issue. For example, how broadly it impacts residents on the grid. Number 2, the history of abuse by a particular resident. And number 3, whether the location is a welcome area or a newcomer-friendly area. Before I show you how to fill out an abuse report, I would like to introduce you to some members of the GTeam who will provide some helpful tips. Colton Linden is here to educate all of you on the many ways that you can handle abuse on your own.
Hi there. Number 1, mute button. The easiest way to mute someone is pulling up their profile and clicking the mute button at the bottom right-hand corner. Another way you can mute a resident if they're not nearby you is to select View Mute List from the menu at the top of the Second Life viewer. Then click Mute Resident. Type in the name of the person you want to mute and click Find. Click on their name in the list and then click Select. You may now enter another name or close. But note, muting from a profile, the mute list, only mutes text chat. If you want to mute their voice chat, you need to take some additional steps. And there are 2 ways you can mute voice in world. Using the active speaker window, click the button next to the talk button at the bottom of the Second Life window. The active speaker window opens. Select the name of the avatar you wish to mute and click the speaker symbol. You'll see the red symbol besides the resident name. You can also mute objects. Mute an object by right-clicking on it and selecting More, Mute from the pie menu. An easy way to locate an object that is making noise is to select the following steps from the View menu. View Beacons Always On, then View Beacons Sound Sources, and finally, View Beacons Render Beacons. Objects that are making noise will be highlighted with a yellow beacon. You can also mute an object by name from the mute list located, as we've shown you earlier, under the View menu in the Second Life viewer. Number 2, maintain control. If you're being pushed, either sit down or teleport away. Number 3, conflict avoidance. Remove a resident from your friends list and delete their calling card to prevent them from tracking you. Number 4, refuse unsolicited gifts. If someone you don't know gives you an object, don't accept it. And if you happen to accept it, don't res it. Number 5, buyer beware. Linden Lab cannot resolve resident transaction disputes. The best way to resolve a resident dispute is to stay cool and directly communicate to the resident you are dealing with. If you bought an item and didn't get what you paid for, contact the seller of the item directly. Explain politely that the transaction was not satisfactory. Ask them for a refund or suggest ways they can rectify the situation. Try not to get overly frustrated. We realize it is frustrating to deal with a non-receipt of an item after an item purchase or receipt of an item that doesn't meet your expectations. But keep in mind, the seller is more willing to work with you if you communicate the problem effectively rather than being accusatory. Now over to Plexus Linden, who is here to show you how to file an abuse report.
Hello, residents. The governance team deals with all types of abuse issues on a daily basis. These issues are bothersome to all residents and affect the health of the grid. We take all abuse reports seriously. I am here to advise you on how to make an effective abuse report. A detailed abuse report helps us investigate and resolve issues quickly. You don't need to write a novel or a Shakespearean-style drama in your abuse report, but there are several key details we need to know. Now you'll see here there are several categories for types of abuse. If you don't see a category here that fits your specific abuse situation, please file your report using the other category. Now let's get to the nuts and bolts of reporting abuse. If you are walking around in a sandbox or any other region and suddenly see disruptive objects falling from the sky, you should immediately note who the griefer is by either right-clicking and selecting Edit on the offensive object or by noting their avatar name while seeing them in action. It's helpful if you can keep the edit window open on your screen so we can see the owner's name on the abuse report you're going to file. Click on the Report Abuse menu to file your report. In this case, select Assault. Click Choose Resident and type in their name. The location of abuse will automatically appear in the window. Type in a quick summary of what is occurring. If you are viewing the offensive action, please check Include Screenshot. You will also want to include the name and owner of this object. Click the button on the top here and then click on the object so the asset ID information is entered in the abuse report for the governance team to investigate. In the Details field, write down some specific information that will help us know exactly what has occurred. You can copy-paste chat logs. Include info from the bumps, hits, pushes in your chat logs. You can find the bumps, hits, pushes log under the Help menu. Sometimes it may be necessary to teleport away from the action. Once you've teleported away and noted the name of object and owner, you can submit an abuse report. Be sure to note the exact location where the abuse occurred so we can respond quickly. There are many other types of abuses we investigate. In summary, it is most helpful to the GTeam if as much detailed evidence is provided for your particular abuse situation. The governance team cannot issue suspensions, warnings, or bans without valid proof of evidence. Now, Socrates Linden is here to explain some additional useful tips relating to abuse in Second Life.
Thanks, Plexus. Here's some information we hope that you'll find useful. You can find our office hours on the Second Life wiki. Scroll down to GTeam and you'll see the current hours. What do I do if someone's copied my items? Linden Lab will respond to allegations of copyright violations in accordance with the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, or DMCA. The DMCA provides a process for a copyright owner to give notification to an online service provider concerning alleged copyright infringement. If you try to file an abuse report on a resident and they don't show up in Namefinder, simply put a Linden name, such as Socrates Linden, in the report. Include the griefer's name in the Details field. Lastly, please understand that we never respond to an abuse issue without an abuse report. Note cards and instant messages are not effective ways to get an issue resolved. Our objective is to keep the grid a happy and healthy place for all residents to be. Sharing information that you've learned here with other residents will make for a wise, informed Second Life population. Now back to Torley.
Thanks for listening to this tutorial. Have a safe and happy Second Life. That's all for our video tutorial on reporting abuse. From the GTeam Mission Control Center, I'm Torley Linden.